Hi guys, today we are talking about English courses and today's theme is all about listening skills. The first question is, what is listening? You know what is listening? Listening is receiving language through the ears. Listening involves identifying the sounds of speech and processing them into words and sentences. When we listen, we use our ears to receive individual sounds, letters, stress, rhythm, and pauses, and we use our brain to convert this into messages that means something to us. You know, listening language is one of the easy ways to improve. And if you listen more, you can listen fast. Listening. Well, listening in any language requires focus and attention. It's a skill that some people need to work at harder than others. People who have difficulty concentrating are typically poor listeners. Listening in a second language requires even greater focus. Like babies, we learn this skill by listening to people who already know how to speak the language. This may or may not include native speakers. It may be your teacher, maybe your student, maybe your friend. This may or may not include native speakers. It means that for practice, you can listen to live or recorded voices. The most important thing is to listen to a variety of choices or voices as often as you can. Now, what is effective listening? Effective listening is a process of analyzing sounds, organizing them into recognizable patterns, interpreting the patterns, and understanding the messages by inferring the meaning. If you listen effectively, you may know about what this person is talking about. And I will recommend you, please listen effectively, and it's worth your action. Now, we should speak about two types of listening. The first one is listening and hearing. Well, what is this? Or what are this? Hearing. Hearing, physical process. It is natural and it is passive. You may hear every sound, every noise. It is natural or natural sounds of the nature, and it would be passive. And the next one is listening. Listening is a physical and mental process, and it is active one, and this skill is required by learning some processes, and you should work on yourself to listen someone effectively and actively. And we have some process of listening. Well, when someone spoke to you, or when you listen some audios, at first you should receive the listening. You receive it, and then you understand, and then remember it. After that, then you evaluate, and then you can respond this one. It means you answer. Well, now we will look all of this process. The first one is receiving. Receiving is response caused by sound waves stimulating the sensory receptors of the ear. It is physical response. And the next one is understanding. Understanding, it is the stage at which you learn what the speaker means, the thoughts and emotional tone. And the next one is remembering. After understanding, you should remember what you hear, because you should answer it. And remembering means that an individual or a person has not only received and interpreted a message, but has also added it to mind's storage bank, which means memory. And the next one is evaluating. It consists of judging, analyzing the message in some way. At times you may try to evaluate the speaker's underlying intentions or motives. And the last one is responding, which means answering. This stage requires that the receiver completes the process through verbal and non-verbal feedback, because the speaker has no other way to determine if a message has been received. Well, we have some types of listening, that is discriminative, comprehensive, emphatic, analytical, and appreciative types of the listening. Discriminative listening. Discriminative listening means only interpreting the sound of the message rather than understanding the meaning of the message. It's also known as a fundamental type of the listening. Therefore, people learn discriminative listening from mother's wombs. This listening style involves hearing only the sound rather than listening to the interpreter the meaning of the message. It is a primary type of listening where different sounds of words are recognized without understanding the meaning. Now, for example, if you are the person who traveled to another country, for example, you are standing at the airport in Malaysia, and at the same time two Malaysian people are speaking in the Malay language beside you. Actually, you don't understand what they are talking about because you don't know this Malay language, but you can distinguish males and females based on the tone of voice, based on the sound. You can also identify their age. Thus, discriminative listening helps identify age, gender, anger, and happiness based on the sound. It means you can also discriminate the listen or the people who are speaking. And the second one is comprehensive listening. Comprehensive listening means you may understand. If you understand this listening type, you are good listener. Wow. Comprehensive listening means understanding the meaning of the message rather than interpreting only the sound of the message. It's an active process of seeking the meaning of the message. It is the initial process of meaning the verbal or non-verbal communication messages, thoughts, ideas, or opinions. Listeners use knowledge and vocabulary to understand the meaning of the speaker's message. It is not only the meaning of the words, but also something more than that. Active audience is a comprehensive listening style to perceive the message's meaning. For example, if you are listening to the lecturers, your lecturer's speech at a lesson in the English language, you can understand almost everything, the meaning of the message. Thus, you are practicing the comprehensive types of listening. Almost 80% of the English students is in this type, because they always comprehend all of this listening audiences, but you don't answer or reply to their question of the teacher. Third one, emphatic listening. Emphatic listening is understanding the feeling and emotions of the speaker. Sometimes the listener can feel what the speaker is feeling. Therefore, this listening needs good, close attention, discriminative listening, comprehensive listening, and a deep connection with the emotion of the speaker. If you are in the lecture, you may feel the same feeling with your speaker or with your audience if you are teacher. Next one is analytical listening. Analytical means analyzing, criticizing, all of this listening audience. Analytical listening means evaluating and forming the appropriate meaning of the message based on evidence. So it is related to critical thinking and analysis. However, it helps assess whether speakers are right, wrong, logical, illogical. Analytical listeners understand why they accept or reject another member's ideas or suggestions. For instance, speakers show a statistical report to persuade audiences. Also, audiences argue with others for better understanding. Last one, appreciative listening. Appreciative listening refers to the listening behavior where the listener seeks certain information to appreciate and meet their needs and goals. It's one kind of selective listening. Appreciative listeners are intended to listen to particular information that is important to them. If you listen to a favorite song and poetry to seek the exciting words of speech, I'm also listening to a political speech to find motivational words. Well, we have one question. How we can really improve our English listening skill? It's our main problem. If someone asks from you some question about their own native language, you cannot understand. You know, it is natural, because as a beginner, you cannot answer or you cannot understand their language because of very fast speaking or very misunderstanding their accent. And the second question is why most people fail to improve their English listening skills. Even if they work hard, they work over the years, they fail and always take the same level. There's only one reason people fail. They don't listen enough English. Makes sense, right? If you spend 1,000 hours listening to English, your listening will definitely improve. Unfortunately, here's what many people do to improve their listening. You can watch a few movies in English every week. You can listen something, for example, some English songs in English 3 or 5 times a week. You can listen to English for only 15 minutes per day. You think that's enough? No, these actions are weak. They are not significant enough to make a difference. Think about it. If you listen to English for 15 minutes per day, 1 year from now, you will have listened to only 91 hours of English. This is not enough. It will take you many years to see an improvement. People who listen a lot of materials also fail. Why? The main reason is they do a lot of tasks at the beginning, and then they have trouble to find time to practice, and they lose their motivation and they just give up because their listening skills didn't improve. They think that. So, listening to English for several hours per day for a month is not enough. You need to do it for many months, for over a year. How can we successfully improve our listening? The first thing is you should listen a lot of English material every day. I should emphasize that a lot of English material, not 15 minutes, not only 1 or 2. You should just listen a lot of English material. And plus, you should listen for a long time. Just devote your life to English language, because your goal is one and you should improve it. And just do it in 1 year and just take your level you wish. There are some little ways to improve your listening. If you are a beginner, of course, maybe the first step is just change your cell phone language into English. Maybe your smartphone is in Russian, maybe in Uzbek language. But the first step is just change into the language you want to improve. And the next one, find some websites and apps full of English materials and just download it to your smartphone. For example, podcasts or scary stories app. Download BBC podcast app to your phone and just try to listen more and more. And then third one, learn what you're interested in English. We all spend time each day on entertaining stuff, playing games, surfing the internet, gambling. We spend lots of time on these things because they are fun and addictive. So just turn your entertaining things into English language, and with these entertainments, just improve and develop in an easy and fun way. If you want to spend a lot of time listening to English, just make it entertaining. If you do that, it's easy to improve your listening skills. You don't have to force yourself to do it just to get high score. But how do you make listening to English fun? By watching movies and videos, by just surfing the websites in English language, and just gambling in that language, or play the games in this one. And there are some people who get a 6.5 or a 7 and just they cannot improve because they just stand the one level and they cannot improve their score. Why? Because there are 3 ways to improve this listening language, listening skill. If you want to improve it quickly, the first one is let's divide these materials into 3 categories. Too difficult to understand, easy to understand, and challenging. The first category is too difficult to understand. Some people want to improve their listening language, listening skill, and just find some difficult materials, they gather them and try to listen them. They don't understand one word, not one word, they just understand 1 or 2 words in this language, audios. But why it is neat? This kind of material, you cannot even understand the main idea, even the some words. If you listen to something and think, I have no clue what they're talking about, then you are listening to this kind of English material and just give up and don't listen again any English materials? That is good. Do you think so? You know, it's a waste of time to listen such kind of materials. You should avoid this kind of listening material. Well, what we should do? Second, just there are some people who listen very easy English materials, you know, always do the same tasks. They have just learned by heart all of these words, and even though they do it, the second type is easy to understand. This is the kind of material in which you can understand almost every single word. Maybe a talk by a native speaker. They may speak slowly and clearly. That's good, but don't do that because it is too easy. And it's just waste of time to spend your time to listen these audios. The reason intermediate students have trouble improving is that they only listen to this kind of material. And the most the best one, the best type is third one, challenging. Challenging, it is English material or conversations in which you cannot make out every single word or sentence, but you still understand the main idea. You may not understand some words, but you can understand the main idea. And how you can improve? Just hear again and again and write down the new words and try to identify all the meanings. Some examples of challenging material is conversation in which people speak a bit fast, but you can still follow the conversation. And the second one is conversations that contain some words and phrases you don't know, but you still understand the main idea. And the third one is conversation which you can understand 80 or 90% of the content. You should listen this type of listening audios, challenging types, and you should challenge yourself and try to listen more and more. These are our listening types, and you can conclude by this. You know some words, you can know about the listening types and how to improve listening skills. But you know what? If you do all of these tasks and if you listen all of my English information, I believe and I hope you will improve your English language soon. Thank you.